I have directed 2 feature films now. My first one, Once Upon a Time in the Apocalypse, came out a few years ago. And now my second one, American Samurai, was just released December 2nd, 2024. These are both micro-budget movies, and this video is to talk about what I have learned about making these movies from the perspective of somebody who wants to make movies, wants to be a director. And I just want to share some ideas that I have about this process that I think might be helpful to anybody who wants to start this process or might be going through this process at this moment. Okay, so the first thing you might wonder is, should you shoot a short film or should you shoot a feature film? The thing that I have learned that I would say is the absolute most critical thing before you start doing anything, whether it's a short film or a feature film, that is, how are you going to try to get this thing out in the world? Okay, what are your goals? What are you trying to accomplish with it? And how are you going to get it out in the world? If you are trying to just sort of prove to somebody sort of proof of concept and show that you do have the skills, technical skills to make a feature film, then making a short film is a way to do that, and then a way to help find money to make that or whatever it is that your feature project is going to be. Making a short film first is a way to show that you have the technical skills to make a movie. Now, it doesn't show whether you have the directorial skills to make a feature film. It doesn't show whether or not you can hold together the narrative for a feature film. It doesn't show whether or not you have the interpersonal relational skills to keep everybody on track and whether you have the grit to follow through and make sure that thing, a feature film, gets finished. But it will show that you have the technical skills to make a film. If you got some great little idea or a concept, then a short film is a good way to show that concept, sell that concept, and like I said, show that you have the technical skills to impress somebody. Now, if you make that short film, then I don't know if a single short film has made any money since, I don't know, 1945. So if you're making a short film, it's probably not because you're trying to make money off that short film. You're probably going to try to get that short film into film festivals where you can then show the people who might then help you with that next step, that show your skills to those people. Okay, you're going to try to get it into a film festival, but what film festival are you trying to get it into? Okay, there's who knows how many film festivals, and most of them probably won't help you advance your career in any way. They might be nice and a nice way to share your project and for people to see your project. So that's not to say they're worthless or anything. And there are certain film festivals that certainly can help to build an audience for, like, say, genre films. You're helping get your name out amongst that fan group. Okay, so it's not like it's worthless in that way either. But the point is that if you're making a feature film, you're probably just making it as a test to show people what you can do to then take the next step. And so you want to make sure that thing is getting in front of industry people. That's important to know before you start. If you're making a feature film, there's about no chance it's going to get into a theater. It's probably going to end up just on a streaming site somewhere. You're probably going to have to find somebody to help you distribute it. That'd be the best way to get it out there and to get it marketed so that people actually see it. You might take it to festivals. You might have something good enough that if you take it to the right festival, it'll get bought by the distributor, who will pay you a good amount of money for that. But even that is probably not likely. You're probably going to license it to somebody who then is going to help you distribute it. You need to think not just like a director, you need to think like a producer. It probably won't make any real money to speak of. Your first movie, your first couple movies, you have to be prepared that you're not going to make money. Now, hopefully you make money. I mean, plan to try to make money. I'm not saying uh, don't try to make money, but what I'm saying is realize that you very likely will make nothing, and therefore make sure that you don't do something that is so expensive that you're going to lose all kinds of money and it's going to ruin you, especially on a short film. Like I said, most short films are not going to make money. So if you're making a short film, do not spend a bunch of money on a short film. And if you're making a feature film, and it's especially if it's your first feature film and you're completely independent, you want to make that thing for as little money as possible. Because you're not trying to lose money, you are trying to make money, and you're trying to show eventually somebody, hopefully somebody, that you should be entrusted with a larger amount of money, because you can make something that could make money if it gets the right distribution, if it gets the right people involved, if you could get a named actor, if you've got somebody to help you with the marketing, and you could make something that really could be profitable in the right circumstances. I mean, this is what you're trying to show people. And therefore, you need to think again, not just like a director, but like a producer. And that means a few different things. One is you need to make sure before you even get started that the project that you're working on is marketable. Like it actually has an audience. You understand how it's going to be marketed to that audience. You know how it's going to reach that audience. You have an idea of how that will be accomplished. You're not spending so much money that there's no possible way you're ever going to make any money back. You're capable of doing something on a restricted budget. You're capable of doing something on a restricted timeline. You're capable of making good decisions that you just don't blow this budget and make something that is unmarketable. Okay. You don't want to do that. You want to show that you can be a good director who does the job right and produces something that could make money. Okay, that is your goal. So that probably means you're going to make something that is a genre movie. Okay, and I know a lot of filmmakers who might just not like that idea because they want us to make something really character driven and really artsy, and they really want to show how great of an artist they are. And I mean, first of all, it's not like you can't do those things within genre constraints. You definitely can do those things within genre constraints. I mean, look at Quentin Tarantino, for example. It's certainly possible to show that you're an artist within genre constraints. But, you know, most of us are not Quentin Tarantino. Most of us are not Martin Scorsese or whatever. Whichever particular artistic director you want to think about and say, I want to be like that guy. That's great, but you also need to try to be somewhat realistic and not completely delusional. And if someday you want to get there, you need to understand that you might have to start at a level that is a little more, I don't know, practical, pragmatic. A lot of great directors started out. Martin Scorsese, one of his first movies was for Roger Corman. I've never even seen it. Boxcar Betty, I think is which one it was. It probably wasn't an artistic masterpiece. Terrence Malick, his first film is Locked Away. He made it, I think, in film school. But anyways, unless you are at that film school, you cannot see that movie. I'm guessing he's a little embarrassed of it. All kinds of directors, when their first film, especially if they make it in film school, it's probably not great. Whatever, that's perfectly fine. You don't have to start out as a master craftsman to eventually be able to get to that point where you really can make something that you feel is meaningful and artistic, and you cannot make it in this industry unless you can also make something that is marketable, because nobody is going to give you money over and over and over and over and over again to make movies if you don't make them some money. And that's the reality of business. You got to figure out whether you're making a feature film, whether you're making a short film. You got to figure out how are you going to get this thing to your audience, to the market. What is the goal of the movie? Is it just to impress industry people, or just to get investors interested? Is it just you're going to go through the experience of doing this thing so you can get that experience? It's invaluable, whether the thing is a total piece of garbage or not, and whether nobody sees it or not, doesn't matter. You're going to get a great experience going through making a feature film. You're probably going to make a genre film, something that is marketable, and horror movies are the most easily marketable films that there are. You don't need stars. You don't really need great actors. Okay, so you've been thinking like a producer up to that point. Now you're making the movie, you're on set, you are a director. And whether you have $1 million and 30 days to film this thing, or whether you have $25,000 and 2 weeks to film your feature film, you have to shoot quick. You have to move. You have to make decisions quickly. You have to be decisive. You can't screw around. You can't be just precious about every little shot, making sure it's absolutely perfect. You don't have time. You must move way faster than you want to. You must accept things being imperfect. You must accept that things will not go as you planned. You will not accomplish all the things that you wanted to. You will not end up with all the shots you wanted. Your actors will not do everything you wanted them to do. And then you're going to have to piece together something from what you did get. That is the reality of making a low budget, and especially making a micro budget movie. It's not going to be what you want it to be, but hey, editing is the third time, as they say, that you actually write your movie. When you edit that movie, then you get to really figure out what the heck the thing is and what the story is. And then you really get to put your skill as a storyteller to the test, because when you don't have everything you wanted, can you still tell a comprehensible story? Is that the right word? Can you still tell a story that makes sense? Now, the thing you got to realize, people will tell you that your movie has plot holes, and it might have plot holes. It might not have plot holes. Plot holes have become synonymous for, I think there's a mistake, therefore I'm going to call it a plot hole. And most people don't even know what a plot actually is, so don't even bother listening to people who tell you your movie has plot holes. Who gives a crap? They're going to also tell you that this character doesn't have an arc or whatever, and it's probably because either they're not very observant, or you didn't do a perfect job showing and not telling, even though you might have thought you showed, and even though to you it's obvious what's happening, it's not obvious to everybody else. It doesn't matter. Not everybody's going to like your movie, especially if you're making a low budget movie. Tons of people are going to think it's terrible, and that does not matter. If you look at a B movie from the 70s that has become a cult classic, people who are fans of those movies will all think this is an amazing, incredible movie, and it might even be picked up by the Criterion Channel and showed there because it's a cult classic. But when it came out, I guarantee you most people thought it was absolute garbage. It doesn't matter, okay? It doesn't matter if people think it's absolute garbage. You have done something. If you finish your movie, you have done something that most people will never accomplish. Even people who talk and talk and talk about wanting to make movies, they will still never actually finish a feature film. Even if they start, they will never finish. So it does not matter. Also, you will see all kinds of films that had way bigger budgets than your movie had. TV shows and films that have certainly millions of dollars, and some of them $100 million. And they have plot holes. They have the same character problems. They have the same missing little parts, and when you jump from one scene to another scene, or one location to another location, you're trying to piece things together to make it seem like it's congruent, and And I'm sure you've seen these kinds of movies that have these kinds of problems where you notice these issues, and they had millions of dollars and they still did it. Your little micro budget movie is going to have those same problems. But what you can be proud of is what you accomplished for so little. And I am absolutely certain that producers and industry people, they know how hard it is to make a movie. And they know how hard it is to make a movie even when they got $1 million. For them, it would be impossible to make a movie for $25,000. If you can make something for $25,000, you've accomplished something pretty astounding. And that can show those people that you're trying to hopefully get to hire you for those bigger jobs. That can show them that, one, you can handle a minuscule budget and still get something done. You can work with non-professional actors. You can work with professional actors who might be not always easy to work with, and you can still get something done. You can get something done in such an incredibly short amount of time that it's ridiculous. And if you can show you can do that, I gotta believe that there are some people who will be able to recognize that, and there are some people who will be able to realize that you, therefore, can be trusted with more. You, as the director, are going to have all kinds of jobs that you would normally not have as a director. If you are making a micro-budget movie, and even a lot of low-budget movies, you are not going to necessarily actually have the different departments. You might have one person for lighting, one person for sound. You might have one person who might be helping with food. You're probably not going to actually have catering. You're probably not going to have a location manager or a location scout or a costume designer or a set designer, all these kinds of things where even if you do have some of these people, you as the director are going to be much more hands-on and actually getting those things done. You're going to be up late after a long day of shooting. Everybody else is going to go home and rest, and you're going to have to go home and do a whole lot more work just getting ready for that next day. And a lot of the things that you're going to have to do are not the job of a typical director, but if you want to get your movie made, you are going to have to do them. One of the things you're going to have to do as the director is really be a producer, okay? There's all kinds of jobs that normally, that'd be the producer's job or a line producer's job. You're probably not going to have a line producer, and you're going to have to get it done. The good thing as an experience this is for you is even one day when, if you can become a director on bigger budget things where you don't have to do all these things, you have an understanding of what these other people's jobs are and what they're going through. You have an understanding of their perspective. You have a better understanding of how to communicate with them and just how to talk to them and how to appreciate what they're doing. If you have done the work of a producer, you will have way more of a understanding of how frustrating it is when actors or directors make the producer's job difficult. So hopefully you, as a director in the future, will do a better job of not making the producer's job difficult. And if you ever get to be just an actor on something, you will hopefully have a better understanding of how to be a positive impact on the set, not making things more difficult for the director and for the producer and for the crew. But ultimately, if you decide to yourself, okay, I'm going to make a short film or feature film, you're probably at least going to be involved in the writing. You're going to be in the producing. You're going to be the directing. You're probably going to be doing some editing. You may be doing some color correction. You may be doing some sound design. These different things that a normal director would not have to do, because ultimately it is up to you to finish that project. And nobody is going to make you do it. It's completely and totally up to you to make sure that project gets finished. But by finishing it, if nothing else, you are proving to you, and hopefully to other people who may eventually hire you for other work or give you money to invest in your work, you are proving that you can do this job. Because ultimately, that's the hardest thing about it. It's finishing it. So anyhow, just to finish up, I mean, hell, why would you listen to me? It's not like I'm some incredibly successful director who's making all kinds of money doing this. If I was, I probably wouldn't be making these videos. But if you're trying to build a career, as I am, in movie making, as a director, as a person who makes movies, ultimately, I don't really care if I'm the producer or the director or the writer. Movies, TV, doesn't really matter. If you're trying to build a career, the first thing you got to do is get started and just do what you can do without ruining yourself financially. And just do what you can do to show that you not only can be a great artist, because I think most people are, if they're trying to be in film, if they really are passionate about it, they care about the art. I do, obviously, care about art, and I want to be seen as a good movie maker. And I know the things that I have made are not like masterpieces, and I don't really care. But I realize they're not everything I hoped and wished they would be, but I'm still proud of them. And I'm still proud of what I have accomplished, because I understand how difficult it is. But you have to understand that movie making is a business as well as an art, and you have to learn both of those things, the business part of it and the art and the technical part of it. You got to be able to have some understanding of all of those things if you're going to try to build a career. So that's the things I'm trying to learn, and those are the things I'm trying to share with you. If you made it this far, thanks for watching. Oh, and, check out the movies that I've made. Once Upon a Time in the Apocalypse and American Samurai. Thanks.